So I was just really excited to talk to all the candidates about community engagement and listening and what consultation might look like, because I think having a bit of a conversation about people's ambitions for what they imagine it could look like in this Shire would be really great to have.
Yep, sure. Well, I mean, the primary reason for that I put my hand up to run as a councillor was to offer not leadership in the community, but listenership. And I'm wanting to be that conduit and facilitate getting or listening to the needs of the community and channeling that information back into local government. So I think there has been some failures in how our local council bureaucrats have provided information to the community in the last few years. I don't believe that sending a couple of Facebook updates and doing a few online surveys constitutes good information sharing or community engagement on behalf of the council. And I believe that that there should be more focus on actually sitting down with different elements or all elements of the community and having face-to-face conversations with people. Whether that's a town hall meeting or having a regular ward meeting, whether it's at the local pub or the local scouts hall, or turning up to the local sport facilities when they have their social gatherings, finding out what the local issues are and taking that information back to the council. And I think even the town hall meetings, I think that there's been so much work done in the last few decades about just more egalitarian style meeting structures that have become not threatening for members of the community, so that they can feel like they can present their point of view and have their voice heard at things like town hall meetings. So rather than having quite a confrontational structure to those town hall meetings, where you have somebody in a position of authority at the front of the room, and then you have the community sitting in a large group, and then people are required to stand up, having a much more flat structure, so having like we had at the local laws meeting, having everybody gather round in a large circle and having either breakout groups to have discussion around particular issues, and then having somebody present findings from those groups, or just having a much more informal conversation in those town hall meetings and making it easier for everybody in the community to express their opinions.
Cool. Yeah, great. I feel like one of my other questions was just around the nuts and bolts of like, what would that look like? So you're kind of talking about actually going to where the people are, whether that's sports events or, yeah, great.
Yeah. Well, following on from that, what I've learned in the last couple of weeks of this campaign cycle, I think everybody's very interested in where the candidates stand, or where I stand as a candidate, and what experience I've got, and what I've done in the past. And definitely I have my area of interest, whether I'm focused on sustainable farming systems and agroecological farming systems. I'm passionate about resource use and recovery, and developing circular economies for the benefit of everybody in the community, and as well as the spin-off of that of operating sustainable economies at a broader scale. My life evolves around making good food available to my local community. That's what I do on a daily basis. I grow food for my community. So that's the core of who I am and what I bring to the table. But my campaign is very much around providing a platform, or a conduit to better search out the information or the views of the local community, and bring that back into the local government structure.
I want to throw this in here, like in terms of being able to have consultation during this quite challenging global scenario. How has that been in terms of, I imagine that a number of the candidates are having to find kind of creative ways to do some of that consultation, or what does that kind of look like for you?
Look, I mean, yeah, I think we've been very fortunate being in regional Victoria, where there's the COVID restrictions have opened up enough that we are able to still gather in small groups and have that face-to-face meetings. For me, I mean, I struggle to get in front of the screen just with my daily work. So for me, I haven't engaged online with the community. So I think potentially my campaign is suffering in that regard. I'm still relying on letterbox drops and then going and meeting people and having those face-to-face conversations. So in many respects, the COVID restrictions actually make it a more intimate interaction, where it is literally, one-on-one conversations with people and finding out what the issues are or what their particular issues are. And then, as a candidate, it's my responsibility to then aggregate that, learn more about those particular issues, and then, if I'm elected onto council, to bring that information back to local government.
Yeah, great. I just wanted to open up if there were any more examples that you had. I think some people have questions around what participatory democracy even is, and whether you had any examples of projects that you've come across, not necessarily from a council perspective, but where people have been really engaged with the community and really got some really positive outcomes by deeply engaging with that community to
Yeah. Well, I mean, sorry.
I was just going to say that feels like what we're working towards as a community is like, how do we harness the value of those people within the community and then get that conduit to council?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's probably for me the most relevant example of that sort of engagement. I mean, how we run our farm here, we run a CSA, community supported agriculture. So we're supported by 90 households in the community, and we provide regular information through newsletters and so forth. But we also have our annual meeting on the farm, and things like or key issues that affect the daily operation of the farm and the farming enterprise and the food that we deliver to those households. We involve all of those households in those decision making. So things like whether we, when and how we do price structures, when and how we deal with either shortages or excess food produced on the farm. I mean, there's a multitude of different key decisions that, I mean, we don't make. Ultimately, as the farmers, we have right of veto, but we put a lot of those decisions to the customers that support our farming enterprise, and we get them to make or help in the decision-making process for the daily operation of the farm.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like one of the things that keeps coming up in conversations is that, those intimate one-on-one conversations or that relationship building sometimes feels like it sits outside of the existing kind of council structures, and there's those kind of formats that people have been trying to use. But I feel like what I'm noticing is that there is, when I think about participatory democracy, there's this focus back on actually the relationships and those intimate conversations actually being, one of those real conversations can be way more valuable than a number of shortly kind of written survey forms, you know, that,
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I think, I mean, the having a personal relationship between the councillors and the broader community, I think is absolutely critical, because one, having that personal relationship invites communication, and it's only through having those open channels of communication are people going to feel like they're being heard. And that's, I mean, we've got so many issues and that we need to deal with at local council level, and as a community, I think it's critical that local government has that relationship, provides information about what decisions are being made, gets the views of the community, and make sure that the community feels like they're a part of that decision-making process.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep, no problem.
All right.
Thanks.
Good night.
All right, have a good day. Cheers.